You can access the entire episode now on our website, forbiddenknowledge.news, Rumble, and all podcast platforms. To me, what an egregore can be is an energetic thought or idea that takes on a life of its own out in the etheric realms because it's so powerful. So think of Communion, Whitley Strieber's Alien. The first time I saw that thing, man, it scared the hell out of me. I was looking at the book in the 1980s and I saw that alien face, and then the whole world was scared of it, and it was a phenomenon because the dude showed us what he saw in his brain, this thing, and it became a thing, and then we start seeing this thing everywhere, and now gray aliens are a thing. So I think that, well, it's possible that what we're thinking sometimes can become these things that take on a life of their own, an energetic life of their own outside of our perception. And they then have the ability to interact with us in certain ways. And it's like energy out, back in. It comes back as more ideas, and it builds on it. And I think people are grabbing from this in the realms of the creative realms of the arts and Hollywood and things of this nature, and they're grabbing from those ideas and people's collective experiences, and they're bringing it to film and to art and to music in ways that they understand through their filter. But it's all true. It's all truth. So that's why what you're seeing on TV and these throughout history, arts and media has been telling you how things are going in reality, like how the CIA's dirty, how the government dirty, how there's this hero's journey and everything. And it's just the idea of the egregore is so powerful, that your thoughts are so powerful, your creation energy is so powerful, that it takes on this life and energy of its own, and then it interacts back with each and every one of us to show us what we should be learning in certain ways. So I think that is what could be happening with the reflections of the media and what we're experiencing right now. And with conspiracy culture, with egregores, there's madness right now. See, what happened is we're confused, man. We don't know what's going on. So that confusing energy is shooting out there from our consciousness into the collective. And hey, man, we're broadcasting, bro. We're podcasting this. And then other people are podcasting this. And they're sharing these crazy ideas through the airwaves, all right? And more and more people are hearing it. And they're scared by it. And they're confused by it. And they don't understand it. So they try and put their own life experiences to it and make sense out of it. And they're still dealing with, what is this? How do I feel about this? And that feeling, man, that feeling's powerful. And it's creating, it's really perpetuating our reality at this point. Our reality's pretty confusing right now at this point. It's a collective confusion, man. And we're working through it, though. Like, one person will have an idea and an epiphany, and guess what? The next day, 100 people have that same idea and epiphany for some reason. Man, the other day I'm sitting in my room and I come to this realization. This is before May the 4th, by the way, and I'm like, oh, I gotta share this with the world. And the next day I'm scrolling through Facebook and everybody's talking about my epiphany that I realized last night. I'm like, what? How'd that happen? Oh shit, this is crazy. So, man, I think we just got to start looking at things a little bit differently, We got to start really using our gut feeling and scrutinizing things in a way that makes sense. We got to use our common sense, man. If something don't make sense, it's probably just ridiculous. It's as simple as that.
Yeah, so I think a lot of that, not to break down the whole craziness of that happening when you think of something and then it shows up on your phone. Not to bring up.
Well, it's not just the phone. It's like in conversations with people. I could go out in the world and talk with somebody, and they'll be like, "Oh, I just realized. Oh, this is the way things are." I'm like, "What?"
Yeah, I just mean more like as far as the media goes. When you talk about media egregores, I think they found out about that a long time ago, and they figured out a way to kind of manufacture egregores, put them in people's subconscious, and then it seems like everyone's thinking the same thing of their own accord, when really you're still just being influenced subconsciously. And whether that's good or bad, it's up to you. But it does seem like that. We actually just talked about this a couple nights ago, but about how whether it's us coming up with it collectively or if it's being manufactured by something else, and it just seems like we're coming up with it on our own, but then everybody thinks the same way. So we were talking about how the decades go in like fashion and style and music and all that stuff, and it seems like on the dot every decade there's a new thing, and that I think it has a lot to do with generational stuff and the kids wanting to do things their parents didn't do and trying to go back 20 years thinking that bell bottoms are new and they're not. The kids pulling their pants up to their tits thinking that's a new thing. It's fucking
nothing
not.
new under
We
the
got
sun,
rid of it one
baby.
time,
I tell
we can
you
do it
what.
again. Yeah, so it's either cyclic and natural or it's manufactured, and we don't really know because we can't really look past, as far as culture swings in the decades, past like maybe the 20s, 30s. Like before that, it was all top hats and canes and carriages, as far as we know. There wasn't a real whole big swing between decades. Like nobody talks about the music of the 1890s. Remember that decade? Oh my God, man, they had a certain sound to it back then. No, it sounded the same as it did 100 years before that, as far as I know. So I don't know. To me, it seems like it's more manufactured with technology because it's got to the point where it can be. So why not?
Well, there are a few of those that have figured things out to a level, to a psychological level, where all they need to do is plant a seed into that collective consciousness. And if they have enough voice and power to do so, maybe they're in control of some media. They just plant that seed in there, and that's all it
Just
takes.
maybe.
And then we just do the rest, man. We destroy, we kill, we let everything fall apart because of an idea that someone just planted. And I believe that's what happened to us, man. It's just all about these people that want to keep us in a box and in power. They figured something out, so they're holding it over us. And they figured out psychology. They figured out how the brain works. They figured out how to trick a stupid human. So all they got to do is make something up and say, with confidence, they're confident. They know this. This is the way this is. And then stupid people go, oh shit, that's the way it is, man. Oh my God, this dude, he's got a cape and a robe and a hood, or he's got a suit and tie, and he's on the TV, and he told me that's the way it is, man. So guess what? That's the way it is. And that's in my heart now. And that's in my soul. And I'm going to spread that. And that's sometimes spreading some bullshit, man. You spread around. It's hard.
It's a snowball. And social media has only, expedited that. It's not just people going to church on Sunday and then telling their friends, and then and not to bring church into it, but church is an egregore.
Dude, let's bring the church.
It's gone.
I'm all about let's bring the church.
It's gone way beyond that. Now it's every little thing now. Like I make fun of the hairdo of Gen Z, the shaved sides with the artificial perm on top. You know what I'm talking about? If you've seen kids lately, you know exactly what. It's a Patrick Mahomes ripoff. Good for you for being unique, but really you're just ripping somebody else off. And everybody you see, like these Gen Z kids, I drive by a lot of high schools on my job, and like 90% of the boys have this hairdo, and they think they're one of a kind when they look like the video from Pink Floyd's The Wall, where they're all coming out of on the conveyor belt and they all look the same and blank face. That's what that looks like to me. But they all think they're being unique and just doing their own thing, when really they've just been incepted by something saying this is how you have to look. And it's happened every decade. That's nothing new either. I'm not putting look at the goths of the early 2000s. Yeah, that was a big thing. I was a little bit of a part of that. Kind of sucks now. And now you look back and you're like, oh fuck, my generation sucked. But you look at the ones now, and it's 10 times more brainwashed. Who knows how many more radio waves or how many more technologies they have to get this into people's heads. And it could just be as simple as the power of suggestion. I think that's a lot to do with it. They see it so much on their phones and the TVs, and they're like, this is how I have to be or look. So yeah. I don't know.
But we're going to get to some good in here later. But before we do, we got to get to some nasties. I want to get to some nasties. You said the church, all right? We got to get to some dogma here, and we got to scrape some scum off the surface of the earth before we move forward here. So I want to talk about the church for a minute. Hey, guess what? I had coffee with a pastor today, and I blew his goddamn mind open. He left with
his Satan-damned mind. Thank you.
No, man, he's all right. He's an all right dude. He's just a little confused, and I planted some seeds, and he's gonna percolate. He's gonna be all right. All right.